The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello and welcome to the Happiness Jungle TV show. CamiBaker.com here. I am your guest host today, and I'm super excited to have a brand new friend with me. Sometimes I have people on that I've known for years or have met several times, and today I'm meeting Holly for the first time.
That's right.
But we have seen each other on Facebook, and we've had a nice conversation on the phone.
Yes.
And through that conversation, we decided, what the heck? Let's do a little PR. Let's have a little fun on camera.
Exactly.
So talk to us, Holly. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Holly Chessman, as you mentioned, and I come from about 20 or so years. It's a little frightening to say that, but a couple of decades worth of working in the tech world. I've run marketing for tech companies, and they've been big and small, and I've noticed it doesn't really seem to matter which size company I'm at. There are not many women at all of them. And it's been a difficult journey to try to figure out how to navigate all of that. It really hit me, I think, around the time when I was first at the beginning of my career and was looking for a promotion, and there was a perfect position for me. And I thought I was completely qualified for it. I had talked to my manager about it and everything, and I didn't get the position. And I felt like the floor had just fallen out from underneath me.
What happened? I was so qualified.
Exactly. I couldn't understand what had happened. It was really confusing. So after a bit of screaming and crying, going into my car and banging on the wall for a bit, I started questioning myself and thinking, well, what did I do wrong? What could I have changed? And that's when I realized that I was really questioning myself all the time. That I would be in this room full of mostly men. I'd feel very intimidated. And I would always be saying, oh, is it okay for me to be here? And if I started a sentence with someone who would be like, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Would it be all right if I did this? Just like constant apology and constant questioning of whether or not I should be allowed to be here. And that's when I realized I really needed to change my attitude. I needed to give people other cues to follow because they were obviously following whatever cues I was giving them. So I gave myself an internal promotion. This was not an external promotion. I just said to myself, okay, you're going to be from now on, you're going to be an expert. But if you're an expert, just like with any promotion, there are certain rules you have to follow and goals you have to meet. So no more questioning myself, no more going into a room and not giving my opinion because I was afraid or nervous or not sure that I should actually be there. And if I was in a situation that was not working for me, I would either make the changes I needed to make it work, or I would find something new that was going to work for me.
I love what you're talking about, Holly. I was just having a conversation with somebody last week about this. Our brain answers the questions that we ask it. So when you said that you were asking yourself, what's wrong with me? I'm cringing. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard because this person said that to me. They said, what's wrong with me? And I said, see, that's the thing. Instead of asking your brain, what's wrong with me? How about, how can I how can I improve? How can I grow? What can I learn from this?
Yes.
Because our brain answers the questions we ask it.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you bring that up. And the whole thing about, being apologetic and being in a place of, always being sorry. When I work with my clients, we talk about positioning, which is a lot of what you're getting ready to talk about too. It sounds like, really helping yourself position and your clients to position.
Yes.
Because when you're in a physical position or mental position of doubt and, for God forbid, shame or insecurity and questioning, I always say it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yes.
So please continue.
No, I was just going to add to that and say that the truth of the matter is we're all experts in some area. There's no person out there that is not an expert in some area. That doesn't mean that everything you're perfect at or that you don't have room for improvement, but everybody has areas of expertise, and I think that that's really important for people to acknowledge.
And when we acknowledge it and by actually declaring it, for example, with the cause marketing movement, I was thinking, what is my title? Am I founder? Am I creator? That's
Yeah.
boring. It's so overused. And I took a cue from a couple of other people that I know that refer to themselves as America's expert in blah, blah, blah. So as of last week, I started touting myself as America's authority on the cause marketing movement.
Perfect.
And guess what?
Perfect.
Because I say it, that is it.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I'm America's authority.
Exactly. And you don't need someone's permission to do
No.
that.
No, it's like when I go to networking events and people, they have the, they're going around doing the dirty 30, as I call it, the 30-second elevator pitch.
Yes.
Well, I used to be in corporate for 25 years and I'm thinking about becoming a consultant, but I'm not really sure. And right now I'm
Yes.
between positions and it's just
Yes.
such a weak place to be. It's like, own who you are, whatever that is, just own something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how did you what was your expertise?
So my area of expertise at that time was all about marketing. Since I was not yet at the point where I was running marketing for teams, I was just part of a team at that point, but I took out the just part and became, I am the authority in how marketing works. I know all the aspects, and if I don't know them, I know what channels I need to go to look them up and to figure things out. I don't have to say I'm perfect at 100% of the things 100% of the time, because let's be honest, nobody is. Instead, I can say I can be very good at what I know, and I can figure out what I don't know. So that was very important for me, just building up that self-confidence. And I supplemented it by growing my reputation online as well and really building up that area of knowledge. And I found the more I put myself out there and really spoke up as an expert, the more people started coming to me as an expert. Like Forbes reached out to me to start writing for them.
out.
I won awards, which I didn't apply for.
Nice.
Other publications were saying, oh, we really need you. We could use your expertise. Or people saying, we're doing a roundup of different influencers in this area, and we really want you to start speaking about this. And from there, speaking engagements started coming, and that actually led me to realize I would really like to be able to share this with more people. Because again, it's so challenging being in a situation where you are the only female or the only non-white straight male in the room, pretty much. And it can be very intimidating. And I think when you can work with somebody who has gone through this and developed a process that really works, it just helps accelerate it so much more. And so you just feel that confidence faster, and you have specific goals, and you're able to really achieve what you want to achieve, take control of your career.
Well, let's talk about how you do that with people. So you were an expert then in marketing, and I love
Yes.
how you said, we can all grow, we all can use some help. I was just sharing with a client yesterday, I said, congratulations that you have finally admitted that you're afraid of this thing.
Yes.
I said, congratulations, because being afraid of being seen as ignorant is what keeps us in ignorance. In other words, if we don't ask for help, we stay ignorant about whatever that thing is. And so let's go ahead and ask for it. But now
Yes.
you're the authority in...
Well, still in marketing. It's still an area that I work in as well for B2B companies, but also in empowering women to grow their reputations and careers through the Defining You methodology.
Do tell about the Defining You methodology.
All right. So the Defining You methodology is something that's really great for people no matter what stage they are in their career, whether they're just starting out or mid-career and looking for a promotion or to sort of grow within the company, or whether they're already experts but they want to grow their reputation beyond the company and really become thought leaders and known around the globe for what they do. It's all about 3 easy steps. The first one is conquering your fears and defeating the things that you tell yourself that hold you back. The second part is about developing your goals and the pieces that you need in order to support those goals moving forward. And the third part is about amplifying your voice so you can take those goals from a dream state of where you'd like to be and make them into a reality.
Defeating fear, setting goals, and implementing and putting it into reality.
Exactly.
How in the world do you help people to defeat their fears?
Well, so a lot of that is all about just understanding what's holding you back. For a lot of people, they're just sort of like, oh, I can't do this. And there's no definition of why did you say that? Where did you come from? What's making you say this? So for example, I've spoken with people who have said, well, I just don't belong in the room. When I get in there, like, I'm pretty sure that like everybody else has all these skills and I don't have these sort of areas of expertise, and I probably shouldn't just like say anything. And I say to them, actually, really, you should be. Think about it. You were hired for a specific purpose. When you are not speaking up, you're hurting the company, first of all, because they're spending money on you and you're not giving them back what they hired you for. You're basically giving them half of what they hired you for. You're there as a body, but you're not there with your opinions and thoughts and ideas. You're hurting your team because the team is made up of several different groups and they need all the pieces in order to stand. Like, think about a table. If it only had one leg missing, yeah, it could still stand, but it's a little bit wobbly there. You really need all the legs there in order for it to be a solid piece. Mm-hmm. And then you're hurting yourself because you're not growing at the rate that you could be. You're not showing people how amazingly awesome you are, and you are amazingly awesome. If you've been hired for this position, you were meant to be in this position. People are not going to hire you just because. For example, there was a woman that I spoke to recently who said, well, I'm afraid that I've been hired just because I'm a Hispanic woman, so I check a box for them, and I think that that's all it is. I said to her, no. Okay, maybe you do check a box for them. That could be true. However, they're not going to pay you a salary like this so you can just check a box for them. And let's say that that was the reason that they hired you. So what? You can still show how amazing you are.
Yeah.
You don't have to be intimidated by this. That's not something that should have to hold you back. And there was this moment of light in her face, like, oh.
Now, when did you figure out and decide and step into, okay, I'm an expert in marketing, I worked in the tech industry, now I'm an expert in marketing, but now I'm actually going to shift into coaching and helping others. What was that defining moment for you?
I would say it wasn't a moment so much as a slow movement. Mm-hmm. So I felt very compelled to start speaking to other women and helping them out to begin with. And I started looking for places where I could share my knowledge. And as soon as I put myself out there, there were just a multitude of opportunities to start speaking.
I love that. I love what you just said. As soon as I put myself out there, there were a multitude of places to speak.
Yes.
Holly said it here. That's the thing, though, because I talk to people so often. Well, there aren't enough places to speak, or I don't really have anything to say, or my book's not ready. Everybody's waiting for their book to be ready, and I said, well, I've spoken thousands of times before my book came out. Don't be thinking my book is a crutch.
Exactly.
Now the book is the best calling card God ever created. And if I had known about it, I would have written it 10 years ago, because you're writing your book, too. We're going to talk about that.
Yes, exactly. My book is actually due out in the fall.
Your book is due out in the fall. But she's getting speaking gigs without the book. So you put yourself out there. You started getting speaking gigs.
Yes. And as I was speaking, I realized there was just this huge need for this. It wasn't like, 5 people were like, maybe this would be interesting to hear about. People, similar to people reaching out to me online, people just started reaching out and saying, oh my God, we need to hear what you have to say. We need to know this. Even just speaking to people on the phone beforehand, they were like, you can't just talk to me about it. I have an event that's coming up that I'd like you to keynote at. There's 1,000 people there. We'd really like you to speak there. There's a clear need for this. I know this from personal experience, how difficult it is. I think that when you have somebody who can help mentor you and guide you through the process, it's very powerful and it's very empowering to know that somebody else believes in you. It's very important that you believe in yourself, but having that other person as well who can just pull you up. One thing that I like to say is that when we help each other, we all rise together. I think it's very important. And if I want to see other women in these positions, if I want to see my daughters being able to grow in their careers, then I feel like it's very important that I help others move up as well.
Well, that's the thing. We are being a example, not only to our children, but to the other women, to the other people, to the planet. you know?
Yes.
And with diversification and inclusion being such big buzzwords now. So how does a client for you, how does she find you? Like not where does she find you on the web, but meaning like
Yes.
like in the ethers, like how is she drawn to you? How do those clients find you?
You mean in the sense that what do they feel like is attractive that makes
Sure.
them want to work
Yes,
with me?
thank you.
So generally, I would say when they hear me speak or when they read the words that I've written, there's something that just resonates internally, because I think so many of us are really busy putting ourselves down. We forget that we should be being our own best friends. Like, just imagine if you treated yourself like you treat your own best friend on a consistent basis. You would never say to your best friend, "Oh, girlfriend, don't go for that promotion. You really stink." You wouldn't say, "Oh, I don't think you're really qualified for that." You would say, "I don't care that you only meet 3/4 of what they're looking for. You are so smart. You are so capable. I know you can do this. Put yourself out there. Look, what's the worst they can say? They can say no. Okay, so what? Who cares? You're not in a worse place than you were before." But if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't ask for it, if you don't raise your voice, nobody's going to listen. And people are very self-centered as well. If you're not telling people, "Oh, here are the great things that I've been doing for the company. Here's how this has improved things for the company. This is why I think I should be getting a raise. Let's work on how we can meet the right milestones." If you're not talking about these sort of things, then your manager or whoever's in charge is just going to be really caught up in their own world. And it may not be on purpose that they're doing something against you, or maybe they're not trying to ignore you, but it could just be that they're so caught up in what's going on in their own lives, they're very busy, that they don't even think unless you put yourself in front of them.
Isn't it true that you have to be your own best cheerleader?
Yes.
And people say to me all the time, "Well, I don't want to brag and I don't want to seem arrogant."
Yes.
So, for example, I'll say to people, when you get a compliment, "It's a lovely outfit." What do you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I actually did this from stage in front of a group, and we talked about the whole just accepting a compliment. It was a talk on confidence. And I said, why is it that we want to say, "Oh, this old thing, oh, this is, no, I got this for $1 at the Salvation Army." Like,
Yes.
we start to downplay. Why is that? And somebody raised their hand and she said, "Well, because I don't want to seem braggadocious. I don't want to seem arrogant." And I said, if somebody else gives you a compliment
Yes.
and you say thank you,
That's not bragging.
what's bragging about that, you know?
Exactly.
And when somebody gives you a compliment, they're giving you a gift. And when you say, "Oh," it's like you're saying, "Oh, I don't want your gift.
I 100%
I don't want
agree.
it. You're no good," So
Yes.
shame on us for doing that to people.
Yes, and we do it to ourselves too. "Oh, I got this promotion, but probably only because I'm XYZ."
Right.
Instead of saying like, "Oh, isn't that awesome? I totally deserved this promotion."
Dude, last Friday, I took myself out for a steak.
Nice.
And I was sitting at Texas Roadhouse,
Mm-hmm.
and the bartender came up. I was sitting by myself. She said, "How is everything?" I said, "It's effing fantastic." And she said, "Well, good for you." I said, "Well, I'm celebrating." She said, "What are you celebrating?" I said, "I'm celebrating how effing fantastic I am."
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
I had a loan that I had gotten 2 clients that week, paid off a loan, and I just felt like, you know
Fabulous.
what? I'm just moving forward. This is all working out great. I rock. I'm going to have a steak. But we have to do
It's
that.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that segues very nicely into my book, because I actually have a whole section in there about how to properly thank yourself. And how to
Nice.
treat yourself right, and really self-talk, and how important that is. And I think when people hear it at first, there's this moment of like, "Oh, that sounds a little goofy." But then when they realize and they start doing it, okay, I have a great example of this, of a woman who I had worked with, I want to say about 3 months ago, and she sent me a note, an email, and she said, "I just wanted to thank you because I just finished a course that I kept telling myself initially, 'Oh, maybe you shouldn't really do this. I mean, do you have the time to do this? Are you sure you want to be doing this?' And after hearing you speak, I was like, I would never say that to my friend. I need to celebrate how awesome I am. I need to cheer myself on. She did her course, and afterwards she was like, I want to write to you to just celebrate because I know that you said that you have to be happy about this and celebrating what's going on. And I wrote back and was like, you go, girl, that is awesome.
I love that, and I love how you say you wouldn't say these things to your best friend. Why would you say
Right.
it to yourself?
Right.
And by the way, if your best friend is saying stuff like that to you, I met a woman at an event a couple of weeks ago, and then we were going to a networking event, and on the phone we were having a little consultation. She said, yeah, one of my friends said, why are you going to that event? You don't have any letters behind your name. What are you going to talk about at that event? Those people at that event have way much more education than you. Basically, her friend,
Yeah.
right? And I told this woman, I said, honey, if that's the kind of person you're hanging out with, that's exactly why you need to come hang out with us.
Yes.
Because we're all about celebrating. You know, it's like when people say on Facebook, oh, well, you know, I don't go on Facebook, it's so negative and politics and this and that. I don't have any of that in my Facebook.
Yes.
Like the only people on my Facebook are Go Girl and Celebration and Where Are You Speaking, and not just to me, but to everybody. Like, you know, change
Yes.
playgrounds, your playmates. Hang out with people that support you and raise you up. So in your book,
Yes.
you talk about how to celebrate yourself.
Exactly.
Give us some examples.
Exactly. So some of it is about how to celebrate yourself, but there's also the portion of how to show yourself off. So really building that reputation and not being afraid to, first of all, like you said, surround yourself with the right people, network in order to build up your goals, really work in a directed way, but then taking all the awesomeness that is you and everything that you've learned and everything that you know and framing it in a way that's really going to help you forward your goals and work with your network so it's all becomes one connected piece. I think one mistake that we make, it's great to celebrate yourself, but if you're only celebrating yourself internally and you're not sharing it with the rest of the world, then you feel good, but the rest of the world doesn't know your awesomeness. Like, you really have to make this a public showing. So all about setting your goals, reaching out to make those goals happen with the right network behind you, and then amplifying that across a much broader spectrum so that people can really see who you are.
You have to let people see you. I can't remember the quote, but you know the quote I'm talking about, where making your light dimmer doesn't raise anybody else up. But let your light shine. Because when I
Yes.
do stuff like that at the restaurant, I was at a Panera's the other day, and I don't know what I said to the woman, but it was real just blah out there like that too. Like,
Yes.
this salad is, look, I have a filter, but I will drop the F-bomb when it's appropriate to make an exclamation point. And some people really, it's not like F this, F that, but just every now and then. And they're like, and as I was walking off, her manager was next to her. She said, I like her. And I turned around and I said, I like her too.
Awesome.
Because, but here's the thing, it's not being braggadocious, it's not being cocky or arrogant, it's about enjoying life.
Yes.
And letting other people see you enjoy life, because that gives them permission to enjoy life too.
Yes. Yes.
know?
And there's a big difference between saying, oh, I'm so much better than everybody else in the world, and saying, oh, look what I did. This is really fun. This is really great. And I love to help people get started out on that process by offering them a free guide to getting started on social media. That's available on my website if you just go to the homepage, hollychessmanmarketing.com, which is, I think, up there on the screen right now. They can go ahead and download that and become part of the Insider Crew, where I share a lot of really great information about how people can grow their careers and their confidence and really hit the goals that they're aiming for, so they're not just working away, but they're really working towards something. So,
Isn't it awesome to create that which you say you are?
yes.
And to really live into your purpose.
Yes.
I'm so grateful on a daily basis for just living my purpose and my goals and meeting people like you that are doing the same thing and inspiring
Me
others.
too.
It's so awesome to hear about, this lady that saw you speak, read your words, got inspired, wanted to send you a beautiful message. Talk to us a little bit more
Yes.
about your book.
So my book actually expands on the stuff that I talk about already, the pieces, the Defining You methodology, and how you can really make that work. One of the things that I loved about writing it, so I enjoy listening to inspirational speakers, but I enjoy it even more when people give me actual action items that I can take away from it, worksheets and pieces that I can fill out so I can make whatever they were talking about become a reality for myself. So one of the great things about this book is that it gave me an opportunity not just to share stories and to talk about how people could do it, but also to give really concrete examples of, let's take what we're learning here, step by step. You can implement it in your own life. Here's an example of how this worked in real life. And now you can take that and do it yourself.
I think I'm going to steal that for my next book.
It works really great. And I think people feel much more confident when they come away with actual action items that they can take. And one important thing that I would say about the book and about the Defining You methodology as well is that you may not need all of the pieces. So you may say, you know what, I don't really have anything in the way of self-doubt, or I don't have that much, because I think all of us have a certain level of it. But maybe what I really need to do is figure out what my goals are. Because I'm just kind of moving forward without any specific purpose. I'm just hoping good things will happen to me. So maybe that's the important part. Or maybe you already have your goals, but you're not really sure how to grow that voice so you can become an expert in the area that you want to be known in. Is where's your goal? Maybe your goal is, I want to be quoted by the media. I want to write for Forbes. So that part of it might be the most relevant. So what I really hope with the book is that people don't use it as something that they just leaf through and then they're like, okay, I'm done, and put it on the shelf. I would really love for this to be something where people can come back and really use it as a reference point and take pieces like the Pocket Guide to Social Media, which is on my website, and other pieces that are involved in the book, and really come back and say, okay, I got my first set of goals. I've already accomplished them. But now I have some new goals that I want to accomplish. And so I'm going to go back to the book, and I go back through these sections. Here are the pieces that I needed to fill out in order to figure out how to make this work. And I'm going to go ahead and hit those goals too. You know, it's a cycle. It's not an ending point. The very last chapter in the book is actually called "This is the Beginning," because this isn't the point where you finish. There's no end point. It's your life. You know, and that's what you want to make work.
And they can use that, and you can use that as a bit of a guidebook or a workbook or something for an upcoming program or
Exactly.
anything like that as well.
Exactly.
So in our last few seconds together, Holly, what is a book? Who is a mentor? What is something you can leave our audience with that they can implement today?
So I would say take your mentorship piece, because I do think that's an important thing, and say, just remember that a mentor doesn't always have to be a person that you speak with every day. It could be somebody who, I consider Michelle Obama to be one of my mentors.
Nice.
I haven't met her. I'd really love to meet her. I'd love to be best buds with her. But this is somebody who helps guide me in my life and figure out, like, how do you balance work and family, and how do you talk with grace and hold yourself well. So a mentor doesn't have to be somebody that you see all the time. It can just be somebody who's meaningful in your life.
And that's the last word from Holly. Thank you, Holly.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.